So today in the Times, it's the 4th of September, there was another article talking about a chat bot and the detrimental effects that happen with that. And I want to remind everyone, this is not collateral damage. This is not the natural negative effects of new technology. Okay, this is a intelligence that is confusing people to the point where kids are replacing the artificial intelligence and acknowledging it as a real intelligence. I think it was last week there was a story about people who are overweight or depressed and becoming more depressed based on the responses of a robot. Well, today there was a suicide. You know, this is not surprising. I'm sure this has happened many times. It's finally being highlighted. And I am proud of the Times now that I've kept every clipping from the Times or in relation to artificial intelligence, beginning when the boom just started. It was like night and day. All of a sudden, the world was in a race for AI, and I've recorded this. It was like it just happened overnight, basically. And then once it started, it just continued. There's like all of a sudden, this is what's happening, and it's hypnosis is what it really is. So I can accurately say that I've been watching for almost about 4 years, the nightmare when I began to see it unfold. And now we actually have these stories coming out about depression, and so I've posted 4 or 5 articles that cover depression, obesity, companionship, and just getting addicted to the responses. This is really bad. Sorry, I try to do these as I'm driving, and I also have to pay attention because I'm already not utilizing my full brain. It's almost kind of like a cerebral exercise, trying to drive and work both regions of the brain. Because a lot of times when I'm talking, the automatic region is taking over. It gets really weird when you just get off on an exit or something and you don't even realize what you did. That's an example of a right-left brain taking over. Like people like to say, I'm a right brain thinker, a left brain. No, that's not real biopsychology. The real use of that term is, sometimes regions of your brain can act automatically while you're doing something. I get back to the point here. But one thing I did want to talk about, I just wanted to bring that up just to showcase another example of these horrible effects of AI. I wanted to actually talk about music and the soul of music and how real music has soul. And I argue that the simulation theorists, the academic materialists, are trying to create an anti-spirituality. I talk about that all the time, which has to do with us believing we are living in a simulation or variations of that. And that takes out the soul. It takes out the spirit. Spirituality replaces it with artificial ones and zeros. So in music, it's becoming harder and harder for me to listen to any short form type of music. I'm mainly a jazz musician, experimental musician, instrumental musician. But I do appreciate some forms of pop music, like from the 60s. I like the psychedelic music, funk, soul, R&B, certain eras of that. But it's becoming harder and harder for me to even listen to that format because the format's been so perverted. And because of the fast fast-paced times we're living in, where you have access to endless moving pictures, streaming films, you have tons of music that's free. I could be driving down the road and you could hear people listening to music and they can't even make it through a song. You think the song's short enough, being 4 minutes, and you can hear them just skipping through the songs. And the reason I even bring this up is it seems to be popular for in pop culture for people to try to incorporate jazz, or you'll have Miles Davis Kind of Blue or something in their collection, pretending like they like it, but they really want to go back to listening to the 3-minute chorus, verse, chorus, 2-second solo, insult solo. So now is the time to kill off pop music. Everything's been done before. I mean, musicians, people who play serious music or instrumental music, know that there's only so many keys, there's only so many chords, and at the end of the day, it's either you're playing in the kiddie pool or the adult pool. And the adult section is music being a cerebral exercise, a discipline. When I sit down and I listen to some of the best music ever, is the, let's say, Coltrane era, where he was playing at the half note. I like all eras, even late period, but 65, 1965 half note club. We're talking a small, smoke-filled, tiny room, black music, super loud, 25-minute songs, people stepping out of the room for a minute to get some air, explaining that they felt like they were going through religious experience. I urge people to get into instrumental music, human-based music, music that involves acoustic instruments that you can also add effects to, like saxophone, woodwind instruments, and honor the fact that there still is a whole body of musical experience that AI will never quite be able to replicate. If you have jazz musicians, a bunch of horns, you have a tenor saxophone, say there's a soprano saxophone up there, you got a upright bass. Well, the benefit of using non-electronic music, and I've always enjoyed electronic music, and I'm veering away from it. The fact that music can be created with prompts now, it's becoming very hard for me to even pull out my electronic music. I'm going back to woodwinds, but they'll never be able to create the music with soul. Meaning, so if you have these guys on stage, they're playing woodwinds, if you're playing a tenor or an alto or any kind of woodwind instrument, you can make each note different. I mean, if you're really good at saxophone, you should be able to hit the entire octave just by moving up and down on the reed. There's so many different ways to get the slightest little different sounds. And luckily, if someone were to sit down and prompt out a 30-minute jam session where every other note or every note is slightly different, that'd be ridiculously tedious. And there'd be absolutely no purpose. What would be the purpose of that? You'd be trying to create soulless soul replication. Just gets ridiculous. So this is kind of like a little public service announcement talk here, because I can only know how to make 10-minute clips holding the phone like this. I have a Galaxy Flip. This phone's been going strong for 3 years. Still feels very modern. And I don't know how to go beyond 10 minutes. So we had the reminder of another horrible, detrimental death now. Now, let's not pretend let's say it bluntly, a death caused by artificial intelligence. These people are also warriors in a way. They're taking one for the team, and it's really sad, but spiritual people know there is no death. And the person who unfortunately had to die for this cause will be rewarded spiritually. It's unfortunate. I said, try calibrating your consciousness. Stay totally away from AI. Do service for others. Go to soup kitchen. Go to hospice. Watch